Hey Lloyd, how you doing? All right. So another Shutter poll. Can't take it back. Okay, I kind of wish I could. This one really wasn't doing it for me. I mean, this movie had oddly enough some potential, and the few things that worked did work, but that only made me wish that everything else around it worked because those parts were strong and made me want to like it. I started noticing little things from scene one, and I just was not having it with this one. And admittedly, after reading the description, I wasn't really didn't go into this with high hopes either. When you pretty much sound like a ripoff of Unfriended or Friend Request, that's not a good starting point. Social media horror films are not a good starting point. That said, I actually kind of liked. It was either Unfriended or Friend Request. I can't even remember which one it was, but I know one of them. Actually, if I saw again, would probably give a positive review to. Embarrassing. Not so for Can't Take It Back. Okay, so two girls, one of them who is new in town, are hanging out at a party. The party winds down, they're drunk, and the local girl, Nicole, pulls up Facebook. Yeah, they actually used Facebook in this one. And comments that her friend Amber she hasn't seen or heard from for a while, and kind of glances this, tries to look her up on Facebook, sees that she recently posted on a profile of a girl they knew back in middle school, and that it was a post saying some pretty nasty things about her. So in her drunken comments is like it was a girl that she also went to middle school with, so wants to burn her on Facebook, and does, and encourages our lead, the new girl, uh, Kristen, I think. Yeah, Kristen, to do the same, which she starts to, hesitates, but then kind of just gets pushed into it. Well, turns out that the girl that they're posting on the profile of, Morgan, is already dead, and Amber is now also already dead, having been driven crazy to suicide from a ghost, and now the said ghost is after our two leads. Yeah, so. And then posting mean messages on Facebook angered the spirit of this girl. Okay. Most of the other horror related social media ones started off with something more innocuous and then built to. I believe Unfriended was there was a disturbed girl who someone befriended couldn't handle her any more than unfriended her, which led to the problem. Friend request, I think, was accepting a friend request from someone that they really shouldn't have. That's just my vague memories talking. This one, they just happen to do something on social media, and it's like the equivalent of one of those chain letters you see. You didn't follow the instructions, and now you're haunted. This one's just, you said something mean online, and now you're haunted. Especially since our lead, Kristen, didn't even know Morgan, but now Morgan's haunting her anyway, because of one throwaway comment online. And I could work with that. I really could. It's not a good premise, but I could work with it if there was something else to go off of. There really isn't. The ghost effects are not good. Our ghost girl looks like she's walked out of a death metal concert, and that's about it. She's almost entirely based on jump scares, and most of them aren't even that good of jump scares. Occasionally she can be effective, but usually she just appears screaming off to the side, and just her look isn't that convincing. In one scene towards the end, when she's kind of walking to a creepy walk down the hallway, just kind of blipping around with it, it goes on for like 10 seconds too long. So it's just like, okay, are you coming to stalk me, or are you just dancing in the hallway now? Also, our main character is not very bright. And she first gets her first haunting thing. It's pretty much her, which I will say the haunting part there was actually effective. It was a scene I liked. So, it's her just sitting down to her computer. I believe she's trying to, this is after she's already tried deleting the message, it won't delete. She's down there trying to examine things again, sits down and her webcam returns on showing the spot where she's sitting at. But it just shows nothing there except for the wall behind her, which is strange. Looks around a little bit, then she appears on camera, screams, and vanishes, and does it a few times before appearing and distorting. I'll say that was effective. Her reaction to that is to grab a knife and wander around trying to figure out who's in her house. That didn't really make sense. Why would you assume someone's in your house? I would more assume some sort of doing a computer prank, sure, but anyway. Also, I was a little, like, scene one is also, again, kind of effective, but it's pretty much, Amber. See, I was worried they were going to do the show a scene and then Flash saying, like, X number point earlier. It didn't do that. It looks like it is, but it's actually something that's happening right away, so, and it was effective, for the most part, of her just kind of creepily typing, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, into a broken computer over and over. Sure. But why did you ADR the typing sounds? Because the typing sounds aren't matching her finger motions at all. That's when I started suspecting that I was going to be in for something. Also, I was a little concerned when she was posting her mean Facebook message because at first you don't even see what it is. Like, you see what her friend Nicole's doing, but then it's like they do it. It's like, oh, that's so mean, and then they don't show it. I was like, really? Are we going the? They do show it in the next scene, but why the build up? There wasn't. It wasn't even. The acting is, for the most part, okay in this one. The lead had a role in Luigi, so she's used to being in horror films, I guess. Nicole had a role in Zombievers of all things, if I'm recollecting correctly. But I will do it. I should actually address that a YouTube and social media personality has a role in this film. So Logan Paul is in this movie. Now, I don't have any special for or against for Logan Paul. I only vaguely know who he is and have never seen a video of his. So a lot of people were strongly for or strongly against his inclusion in this. Me, I thought he was okay. A couple scenes where his emotional range just did not seem to be landing, particularly when his girlfriend is dead and he's just doing this weird. I think he's just trying to do a dazed but angry kind of thing, and it's not really working. Also, how he's sidelined from the plot. I don't think that's his fault, but it's like the plot has no idea what to do with him, so he disappears for large stretches. So his role is pretty much a glorified cameo. Like, he shows up at the party at the beginning, which he fits in perfectly at. Then shows up again when his girlfriend's dead. Then seems to do his own little research thing, and then gets told by the main characters, "No, you wait behind because someone else has to stay behind just in case we don't come back." And that's it. He's ready to go to the big final investigation, and the main characters just tell him no. Boy. I will say I did like the ending. I'm not going to say what it is, because if I had to suffer through it to see it, so do you guys. But it was not worth the ride. And that's the thing. A lot of this mostly comes down to the ghost girl herself. She has a sympathetic backstory, which works, but her stalking people based on being on Facebook messages, why just that? She had all these bullies in real life. Why are they only being haunted after they tease her after she's dead? Why is that the trigger? Why is it on Facebook? I mean, I get that like she had problems connecting with people in real life because she like knew things about them and it came off as creepy because she was psychic, because of course she was. But so she could connect to people that are on Facebook, so maybe that's why, because she could online she didn't get all that feedback. So yeah, post on her profile, and now she'll come after you because you can't take it back, I guess. And her look is, it's all just like death metal makeup, and that's not scary. I mean, for a quick flash up of her, maybe, but when she's on screen for a projected appears, like, that is not a scary look. So the weakest point is the ghost girl, and that needs to be one of your strongest points in a movie like this. And if it isn't, everything's going to fall apart based on that. So, that said, the few scenes that worked did work, even if most of it didn't, so I'm going to give it a 3 MacGuffins. The higher end of bad, just because there were a few things I did like. A couple of scares were somewhat effective when it wasn't just going jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. Well, that's all I have on Can't Take It Back. I'm probably going to forget about this movie. There's not much here. Well, have a good day, Boyd.